Hi, this is Tiffany Coral with AEP 855 Module 8 on leading with a moral compass. So the first article was titled Moral Compass. Some things that I took and reflected from it was that you really need to find your true north, which is what you live your life by. This is not only in your personal but your professional life as well. Something else that struck me is that when you take on that leadership role, your personal life is no longer personal. So if you're making bad or immoral decisions in your personal life, your professionals, your colleagues, your community, they will eventually find out, and that will reflect badly on your school district, yourself, and ultimately it will lead to negative outcomes for you. The second article was titled Having a Moral Compass. It went through the basis of what your moral compass needs to be set on. That is one, to always put people first in your decision making, to always respect others with dignity, treat them fairly, and those same rules apply for everyone. Just because you are a leader doesn't mean they do not apply to you. And finally, to be honest. All of those are non-negotiable. You must make sure your compass is aligned to those four values. And again, a quote that they said that really kind of struck me was to live your life as if you were to die today, and that you'd be happy with how you lived your life with no shame, and you wouldn't go back and change anything. Next was Concepts Unwrapped, Moral Emotions. So it went into the different types of emotions, from self-conscious emotions, which is guilt or shame, to other condemning emotions of anger and disgust. These can steer people in their decision making, and they can motivate people to follow society's norms, even today, with moral norms that aren't necessarily the values that I live my life by, but it can steer people in a specific direction. Other praising emotions, which include gratitude, and other suffering emotions like sympathy, compassion, and empathy. They noted that empathy, by many philosophers, is believed to be the core of a moral person, and to always practice mindfulness to override your automatic emotions. So this is something that needs to be practiced, and it needs to be calculated, and you need to think critically when you're making these types of decisions that involve your morals. Next was to set your moral compass true north. This was an article, and it basically said that today, with your compass, you need to make sure it's always pointing true north. And to know this, you need to make sure your heart's in the right place. To do that, you need to always act selflessly. So putting others before your own, even if that, doesn't necessarily affect you in the most positive way. As a leader, it's your position to make sure that it is positively affecting your colleagues, your students, your staff, etc. And finally, the moral compass. This was the last article, and it put morality in its simplest definition by saying the difference between right or wrong. Although it's not always that simple, if you have your moral compass set, it's much easier to determine that right from wrong. It went into and kind of discussed the idea of how religion affects your moral compass. Although that is true, there's many different religions, and they all can't agree on the appropriate moral compass. It ultimately says that society does not have the same equal compass, and that yours is your own, but you need to always make sure that you are acting in a rightful way at all times. So here's my moral compass that I created for myself. My due north is honesty, and my due south would be dishonesty. Some other qualities and characteristics I live my life by are being compassionate, tolerant, courageous, resilient, and having equality for all. On the southern side, I have being judgmental, stealing and cheating, and dishonesty, which again, those are wrongful choices that would be made. There are my references, and for my addendum, I have my standard correlation and how it's relevant to this assignment specifically, basically saying that I need to live my personal life as I wish my professional life to be lived, and that all my decisions I make in my personal life will come out in my professional life as well. And my reflection on this module, by creating, this moral compass and the presentation and video, it just shows that you always need to have clear values, and they need to be set in stone. There should be a clear right and wrong in your decision making process. And when you use your moral compass, that makes that decision making process much easier. And I should always make decisions as a future leader that benefit my staff, my students, families, and community before they benefit myself. And lastly, Slides Carnival is where I got my template. Thank you very much.